Hello, everybody. It is Monday and I'm Galit. I had an off week last week, wasn't feeling well, and never got to do my Monday vlog for the topic of being an open educator. But I really enjoyed listening to all of you and tried my best to comment as much as possible on there. Really great conversation. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about um, if you can be open and closed, or if it's all or nothing. Anyway, on to the next week's topic. This week we are talking about how our personal philosophy affects our teaching. And when I first looked at that question, I didn't see the how. I was just saw the does, and I'm like, obviously it does. But then, okay, how does it? So that is a better question. Because really, I mean, how doesn't it? I am reminded of Parker Palmer's writings, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but, and I don't have a direct quote, so I apologize for that, but, he talks about teachers teaching who they are, so that it is inevitable that who we are as people will come through in the way we teach. And so, yeah, my personal philosophy of education, of course, affects the way I teach in a really big way. So, what is my philosophy then? I think I'm somewhere in between a constructivist and a humanist. I see a lot in common between those two theories, and there's much overlap there, and I think I probably fit somewhere in between. And then also the whole inquiry-based learning philosophy, and I've thrown passion-based learning into that as well. Those are the theories that really guide the way that I teach. And so what that ends up looking like in the classroom is student-centered learning. So kids coming up with their own projects, kids coming up with the criteria, them really being at the heart of everything. And I wasn't always like this when I first started teaching. I probably spent a lot more time standing at the front of the room. And that doesn't mean I don't stand at the center of the room anymore. There is times when I am slightly teacher-centered. And I think there's a time and a place for that. I really do. But for the most part, I try to be student-centered. I try to let my students kind of guide what we do based on their inquiry questions and based on their interests and passions. And then when we are learning things that, don't have the space for students being able to guide the direction of learning itself, when it's covering materials that are more is set in stone. I still like to have my students at the center of everything by allowing them to come up with the criteria for projects, the rubrics, and designing the way the learning is going to look. So sometimes that may mean also them designing the way the assignment or project is going to look at the end, be it on a PowerPoint or a movie, a poster board, a speech, an essay, a story, a haiku deck like I was experimenting with today and got these slides from a Haiku Deck. Whatever it is that they think suits the learning. So trying to give my students as much choice in that as possible. And so I think that because of my philosophies, because of my belief in a constructivist, humanist, inquiry, passion-based classroom, I think that that really does affect the way that my students learn. But that being said, I'm just going to reiterate again that there are times when I'm not like that. There are times when I just explain something to the class and teach a specific concept. And I do think that there is a time and a place for that. And I can say that confidently because last term I actually tried to go 100% project-based learning in math. And it's possible. I did it. It was crazy though. And by the end of it, when I was reflecting on how that term went, I really felt that it was not as successful as I would have liked it to be. I felt that the learning was not as good as it had been in previous years. So that's when I really came to realize that, you know what, not everything has to be project based or student centered. That it's okay to have balance, and too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. So there we go. There are my thoughts, all in one take. See you guys. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.